Hey Crewville, this is Rob. Just wanted to let you know about our sponsor, ApexGiftCard.com. They are having a feature brand of the week. The feature brand of the week this week is Hooters. Everybody loves Hooters. Again, get out there and get your gift card from ApexGiftCard.com. It's over 30% off the retail price. That means you save before you even get to the restaurant. That's not counting whatever coupons and discounts they offer at the actual restaurant. So again, get to ApexGiftCard.com and click the Hooters button and you'll find some extra savings, over 30% off the e-card price. Again, everybody loves beer, everybody loves Hooters, everybody loves wings. So again, what a pair. Again, don't miss out on these great deals going on ApexGiftCard.com.
Crue Life is in the house with the best episode, I think, so far. Today, we're going to do mock draft Crue style. What I mean by Crue style, it's going to be the best draft and mock draft you've ever heard. It's a fantasy one, but we'll explain that in a minute. This is Rob.
Hey, this is Rick, the chairman, and off to my other man, Mr. Clevin.
And this is Clevin Lamar, the mayor, coming to you live from poolside on a beautiful day in Tampa Bay here.
This is dub producer, Kirk Bell.
So as we're here and we're going to do this mock draft, this is how the mock draft's going to go today. We're going to explain it, and then we're going to do a little news for you guys. But this is how it's going to go. So you guys can get your brains thinking as you're listening to this. This mock draft is going to be different in every way because it's going to pull you back through the history of the Buccaneers. You could go back in any team and any player and pull somebody out of those teams or from the past. So again, we're going to have 5 rounds by all of us, and basically we're going to try to put the best 5 players that we could pull that fixes the 5 worst problems that are on the current roster. And we're going to see who puts the best team together. And I can tell you already, just by knowing all these guys, I'm the winner.
I knew you were going to come back with that. You always do. You underestimate every single time, my friend. You underestimate.
Yeah, see, the reason why I don't see that happening is because you're not going to go with offensive line in the first round. That's why I know you're going to lose.
Now, part of the rules here, you can draft any former Buccaneer player, anyone who is not on the current roster, and that person is actually going to be from that draft class. So you're talking about this being a young stud coming in to help this team.
Yeah, I mean that seems fair. I mean, you can't pick Steve Young when he was a 49ers quarterback.
No, but you can pick Steve Young as a quarterback. You can draft him for this.
Right.
And he's still Steve Young on your team.
No, and that seems fair, but you're not putting the Super Bowl winning quarterback Steve Young on your team. You're putting what he was on the other side of a USFL contract. You can't put I got the 49ers Steve Young.
Right. It's you're taking the name
them as they are when they were here. I mean, I the great thing about the Bucs is that not a lot of people left here and did super well other places. I mean, they can be all counted on one hand. I mean, it's Keyshawn Johnson had a great career. Then he came here. What's one of our other favorite players? Brad Johnson had a good career. Then he came here. So it's one of those things.
And all that's on perspective of who you are and who, just like you're naming those players. Clevin, what are you thinking about this?
Well, I'm thinking that we can't pick current players, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you got basically we're going to take the 2020 roster as it is now. We're going to add 5 players to it, and I everybody says DePrez is what my name is. After this, everybody's going to know me as the chosen one because I put the dream team together. I'm the dream team. So all right, so our draft order that we've put together. So we're going to tell you what the draft order is, and we're going to do a little news. Kirk is going to lead off the draft. He's got the number 1 pick. And then it goes to Rick. Then it comes to me, and then it goes to the mayor. And then the mayor picks first in the second round and goes back up snake-wise, kind of like a fantasy football draft.
A lot of pressure.
So, Rick, let's talk about some current news before we get to the fun.
Well, we know that Brady has been not very happy about the people coming around his house. He's a very private guy, and he has been reporting the boats coming up to the back of his house. One thing that I found real interesting is a Twitter back and forth between Tom Brady and Drew Brees. And so Tom Brady has the Tampa Brady, right? So he's got all these Tampa, Tompa, monikers. Brady says to Drew Brees, you should have trademarked Drew Orleans. New Orleans, Drew Orleans. I thought that was the greatest. And Drew Brees didn't even come back to him. There's no response as of right now.
And I would like to point out too that the Tampa Bay or whatever he's trying to come up with is awful as a name. It sounds horrible. I don't know. Like the other one that he was coming up with sounded great, but it just seems like he's trying to like secure a marketplace for something that doesn't exist.
I agree with you, Kirk.
People are going to want this. I better get ahead of it.
Well, the funny thing is you guys are all saying that, and I bought a shirt on the Dan Patrick show. They advertised after Bruce Arians was there, and it's Tampa Bay. And I actually have it. I wore it, and people made tons of great comments about it. And I thought, I really think he already saw the sales on it. And he's like, hell, why is somebody else going to cash in on my name when I could do it? So that's what he did. He's collecting the money instead of letting somebody else do it.
No, and I can appreciate that. I just think it's a money grab for like no reason. And you're money grabbing for... Like, would you ever wear a shirt that said that?
No.
I do.
Oh,
yes.
no. But let me just say something about that. Kurt, I agree with you. Rob, Tampa Bay, that's not his name. And anybody named Tom, I know 1,000 people named Tom that could have did the same thing. But I get the 1,000 people I know, they're not the quarterback of the Buccaneers. So with that being said, I want to circle back to what Rick initially said about people coming up on the man's seawall. People need to leave him alone. And I get it. He's a celebrity. I get it that people want to take pictures or what have you. What do you think, Rob, about him just coming out and saying hi and telling the people just, hey, I want my privacy or whatever, instead of calling the police and getting all this stuff all up in an uproar? It comes with the territory, folks. I'm saying that to Tom Brady, but it also, people need to give him his privacy as well. So I'm kind of down the middle on that. What's your thoughts on that?
Let me just interrupt you for a second, Clevin. Like you're a cop. Where does the law come down on?
Well, there's no law for being in the water on the boat. So people could be back there all they want. He does not own the right to the water. The water belongs to the state. So people could go back there on the boat. Now, where it is against the law, the part that he owns is the dock and the seawall. They can't be on there. They're trespassing.
Okay, so Sean and Robert, make sure you do not go onto the seawall or onto the dock. You're cool hanging in the water.
Yep, they can anchor out into the water.
Just swim around there.
And from my knowledge, I think most people are not there to see Tom Brady. just to see, it's not Tom Brady they want to see out there.
No, they want
to
see Giselle. That's what they want to see. They want to see Giselle.
But let's go on to he was on Howard Stern this last week, and if you haven't heard the interview, it's available on the YouTube. And I'll tell you what, the interview to me, it was 2 hours long, and it was very interesting that he did it like everything else. It has to be done at their own home on the computer, and they were doing it using a platform, Zoom platform, and as they were doing it, the actual program locked up and the mid sentence for a couple times for Tom, where he had to call back on a phone line, and it got pretty funny because they said, "Well, you're paying all that money for that nice mansion from Derek Jeter. His internet is pretty crappy." And he said, I do have to upgrade the internet. And I thought that was pretty funny. And then he goes, what happens if the washer breaks? What are you going to do? He goes, well, I called Derek, and he sends somebody over. He goes, get somebody over here to fix this, bitch. It was kind of funny how he was talking.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the one advantage of being a renter is that you can just kind of come in and mess something up, and then the homeowner has to fix it.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. He goes, it's so nice. He goes, I got the best landlord.
Yeah, and exactly. Like a landlord that's not hurting for money. So, I mean, I would break all the pipes.
So the one thing that was kind of cool in the whole interview, they were asked him a lot about his previous employer, and the funny thing, Howard goes, if I was you, I would unfriend Mr. Kraft because he's not your friend anymore. And he starts laughing and he goes, he's a good guy and he would stand up for him. But the interesting thing was he did not take any shots at Belichick at all. He said, it wasn't that we had a rough time at the end. It was more of, hey, I've done this for 20 years and I need a new challenge. It was time to move on. And he didn't take any shots. And I thought that was pretty cool because a lot of players would have taken a shot at the former coach or whatever. I think he really appreciates their time together, and I think they ended on a good term.
Well, and my point to that would be just this: is that you can work a lot of jobs, and you can be the best at your profession, but none of it matters unless you are a professional when you do it. And Rick would know this because Rick's been in sales for like a long time. Is there is a premium just placed on being a professional and showing up and being a professional every day.
True that.
One of the other things he said on there was, if Howard Stern put it out like this to him, he said, "You're making $50 million guaranteed for 2 years." He goes, "You're vastly underpaid, drastically underpaid." And he goes, "Well, it's my employer." And he goes, think of it this way. And when he said this, I was like, it really brings up, we always say the athletes are overpaid. He said, if you take the hottest rock band in the world, and I'm talking about iconic, like the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
They go and they fill a stadium full of people, and they do 30 dates, or in a month, say they do 20 dates in a month. They've already made how many millions of dollars?
Millions upon millions. And I'd like to point out too that's they are like athletes.
Yeah,
and the way that they have to perform and the capacity in which they perform and at the level in which they perform. So they are kind of like athletes.
Yeah, and what he was saying is like, you are now referred to as the Buccaneers, because up until this point, the Buccaneers had nobody talking about them other than one thing, which was Jameis Winston's interceptions. And now everybody's talking about them as a favorite to get to the playoffs, a favorite to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, Dan Patrick said that's his Super Bowl team.
Yeah, there's a lot of things out there right now. Most all of us have the odds makers right now have us as a 55% chance of making the playoffs, making the playoffs as a in any capacity. So 55% isn't a lock.
It's better than zero.
But it is better than zero. But it's like what I've said on our other podcasts, and that is follow the money. The money is saying that we're still 55%. I think that number goes up after the draft and after we complete some of the pieces that are needed to complete this team.
I think,
and I do think.
I think it goes up too with that, and I think it helps. With all the rule changes and where we are in the draft. We'll see how the draft unfolds, but I think it goes up as well.
All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to go to a small break, and then we're going to come back, and we are going to get to this draft.
This is gonna be fun.
So we're going to go to break. Listen to the words from our proud sponsors.
Hey, what's up, crew? It's Easy B. I'm here to tell you about Crue Style by Crue Life. Crue Style is basically the clothing line for Crue Life. We have t-shirts, hoodies, phone cases, pillows, posters, you name it, we got it for you to represent the crew. So hop on to teespring.com and search Crue Life, CRUELIFE, for all your Crue Life gear. And right now by the Crue Life is the Easy B collection, featuring the No Goats, No Glory Tom Brady shirt, and also the new line from Crue Life, the Crue Life Coast to Coast shirt that allows you to represent where you're from while still showing love for your crew. So hop on to teespring.com, search Crue Life, CRUELIFE, and get all this new gear from Crue Life. And just remember, Crue Life. Once you're in for life.
Crue Life, we are back. It is a mock draft time, fantasy draft time. And we're going to throw the pick over. The first pick is Kirk. Kirk, you are on the clock.
I have a lot of pressure. I feel the weight. I feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. So with the first pick, I'm obviously going to protect my guy, even though he's not really my guy. I'm going to get Davin Joseph.
The pick is in. It's Davin Joseph, offensive guard.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay.
it was between him and I kind of wanted Jeremy Zutog. But what do you guys think of that pick? Is that a horrible pick? I know nothing about offensive line. I just know that Davin Joseph is a monster.
Davin Joseph was a beast. And Davin Joseph, if I remember right, until he hurt his knee, that guy was looked at as one of the pillars for our offensive line. And then after he hurt himself, he kind of faded away.
Well, my pick as pick number 2 is actually going to complement his pick very well.
Well, and if you're going to say Donald Penn.
Nope.
Okay, well, because I was going to pick him, but
I would watch what
one plays tackle.
Yeah, I would watch what you're talking about because somebody's got somebody here might just say, "Oh, that's
now."
No, it's fine. That was my first pick. Was I wanted a monster on the offensive line, and so then I picked Davin Joseph.
I'm going with Kenyatta Walker.
You know what? I saw that name.
Well, but but you're talking about Kenyatta Walker. We drafted him 14th in the 2001 draft. He started at left tackle the first year and then went to right tackle for the next 4 years and when was in and out. Now, what our whole thing was the draft. What was his draftability when he was coming out of college, coming to the Bucs. He was absolutely a monster and willing and ready to play. Now, if you go with a guy, I'm going to say the name, if you go with a guy like Rob Taylor is considered to be probably the best right tackle that the Bucs ever had. The problem is that he was drafted number 156 by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 1986 draft. He was way down in the draft, way down the draft board, and he did horrible for them for 3 years. And then 89, 90, we pick up Rob Taylor, and he becomes a monster for us. But he wasn't that monster when he was drafted.
So let me just make sure that I have this correct. You're picking Kenyatta Walker. Kenyatta Walker came out of Florida, right? Like that was his background, right?
Yes.
And he was picked. It was a high pick, and it was, if I remember right, and I'm going to hate on your pick right now.
Go right ahead, brother.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this.
I'm just going to hate on yours,
yeah,
too?
it's all going to get hate.
If you asked me, say, hey, since you've been a fan of the Buccaneers, who was one of the worst picks? it was Kenyatta Walker. He never got to where he should have been with the Buccaneers.
He started day one. He started day one and went all the way through with a Super Bowl team.
I think he had like 17 penalties in a game.
He's got a ring. Next up is Rob.
Oh, I can't wait.
You know,
which running back are we going with?
Yeah. This ought to be good.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
Ricky Bell's dead, right?
Yeah, they're all ragging on me, and they're thinking where I'm going to go. And I told you guys are not going to go anywhere I've went. And I'm not going to go offensive line in the first round. I'm going to go to something it's cursed us since, I would say, the last 13 years.
A kicker.
I'm doing something you just unplug this.
You can't be thinking of going with Martin Gramatica.
I'm going in this pick with something I said it's haunted us forever. Can you hear us? So I give you this pick.
Go ahead.
All right. I am going Martin Gramatica. And the reason I'm going Martin Gramatica is how many games and how many years have we been screwed by not having a kicker that makes the kicks when they're supposed to?
You're going first-round kicker. You really thought one of us is going to pick a kicker in the first 1 or 2 rounds?
Yeah, that's a horrible pick.
You could have picked him number 5.
Yeah, you could have picked him 5 like that. You could have picked Aguayo. Like, why did? What are you doing?
I love it.
Clevin, I know that we're against each other here, but can you please state how many games you've witnessed that we missed an extra point or a kick, and Gramatica was automatica?
Hey, Jason Light, calm down.
Well, let
you're
me
just,
tell you
just
this,
you're
Rob.
not. There's no way you can.
Let me tell you this, Rob. You guys are gonna laugh, but I was gonna get Gramatica.
Oh,
Seriously.
Are you serious?
Hey, we're
I am dead serious. Rob picked Rob.
A first round pick.
High five on
It's
that.
your first round
We're gonna
pick.
have it. I'm gonna buy you a drink on that.
Hey,
Listen,
I'm
hold
like
on.
you. I'm tired of
I gotta
seeing the
get the
freaking kicker miss the damn extra point and a freaking whatever. Then we're chasing points every game. Then it becomes more of a hassle. It's just I want somebody that's automatic. And guess what? The Raiders drafted Janikowski number 1. And how many years did he play? 20+ years for the Raiders.
Okay, well,
You got it.
Automatica was not Janikowski. And even though you remember Automatica as being a great kicker, and he was for the Bucs, at the end, he wasn't very good. That's why he was fired.
But guess what? We're not talking about that. We're talking about any player from the past to get our 2020 Buccaneers to the Super Bowl.
Fair point.
And guess
Fair-
what?
okay, fair
I
point,
want a
fair
kicker
point.
that's automatica when it comes to kicking that extra point and field goal and to get us to that Super Bowl.
And he can do that. That is a
Rob,
bad.
you nailed it
that's
on the head with that one.
That is the
because
worst
I was
first
gonna
round
get
pick
that.
ever.
Clevin, you're up with your pick.
You're up.
Okay, I still can't believe he took my pick, and I got to give him kudos for that. And we've had these conversations about the kicker, so he kind of threw me off because I had no idea that any of you guys would have picked Martin Gramatica.
No, I had him. I had him as a 5th round pick. Everybody had him. They just had him in the later rounds.
Really, because Rob nailed it about the leaving points on the board, and we're losing games because of that. I guess I'm going to have to just move on, and it's a coin flip for me as far as we're upgrading the current team.
Okay,
Now
remember, you're going back to back here. So you're making a pick, and then you're making another pick on top of that.
Yeah, I know. The Martin Gramatica one threw me off.
I know.
So I'm going to go with I had a running back chosen because we need a running back. We need a workhorse. And this is a coin flip for me. And I'll go ahead and tell you guys it's a coin flip between Wilder and Allstott. To me, they're workhorses. Wilder's a big workhorse. He had he
Make
led
a pick.
the team.
Yeah, you got to.
Make a
Yeah,
pick.
you got to
Yeah,
make a
I'm
pick.
going-
It's either James Wilder or it's Mike Allstott.
It's James Wilder. from 81 to 89 team.
Wilder.
That's a solid pick. And then
30
and now
touches
you've
a
made
game
that
in
pick.
84.
You now that's a lot, especially for that time period. So you've made that pick. Now you have to make another pick because now you're at the top of the second round.
Since we don't have another running back, I'm going with Allstott.
You're
So I got
picking
two
back
running
to back,
backs.
back to back running.
Back to back running back. You got it.
Actually, he went running back, then he went fullback.
Wow, that's not
There you
fair.
go.
That's not fair. He really went running back to running back.
The fullback position does not exist anymore, anyway.
Not in a Bruce Arians offense
it did
because
back
remember
then.
we were talking about scheme. The whole thing was scheme.
Okay, so
It did back then. So
I like where you're going. So, as I have the next pick, I will give you a person that will actually make holes and block for our quarterback. And it's only the best offensive lineman we've ever had in Buccaneer history, Paul Gruber.
Okay.
Right guard.
Wow.
Left tackle.
Oh, yeah. No, he was
Left tackle.
Yeah, he was a left tackle. Gruber.
Yeah, left tackle, and he's one that's really good as pass blocking, and he was known for opening the holes for the running game.
I think you're digging deep there. I can't believe you went
Ring of Honor.
It's
Well,
fine,
Paul-
but like you went Grammatica your first pick, and then Gruber your second pick. Like you're almost working yourself into the hole. Like I can see you digging yourself your own grave.
Little notes on Paul Gruber. 12 seasons with the Bucks. He was the 6th overall pick in 1988. The guy really was a beast, no doubt for the Bucks. But he wasn't a right guard or right tackle.
No, he wasn't a right tackle. He was a left tackle. Now moving Smith where he should be over to right tackle.
Maybe so.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that seems fair.
All right, so now on the clock, Rick.
Wart Dunn, the next best running back.
I think that's a perfect fit. Work done is, to me, the best pick for running back to go with Tom Brady. He catches the ball out of the backfield, and he is like that weapon that we haven't had since he's left.
No, and I completely agree. He's the
You know-
he's the one of the greatest running backs we've ever had, and versatile. And he played in a time that was the best time to be a Buccaneer.
Well, when somebody else makes another pick of the other running back that I really like, I'll speak about it. Next up is Kirk.
Yeah, this was actually an easy pick for me because I have like a tackle, I have a run blocking, whatever he is. I don't even know what Davin Joseph does. But more importantly, I want somebody that can go north or south. And since I can't get work done to run all my underneath routes, I'm going to get the best guy that I can get that can run north or south. I'm picking LeGarrette Blount.
good pick.
Yeah, beat that.
Good pick.
When he was here with the Bucks, he was a great runner. The biggest problem with him was he couldn't get to practice on time. He was always late to practice.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he just one of those guys that the Bucks finally gave up on. Then he went to win Super Bowls.
Yeah. He went other places and won, which is the recipe for a Buccaneers player.
Exactly. That's what.
Kirk, you have one more pick.
Oh, I go back to back to back.
Yep.
So now I need a wide receiver in the slot, and when we were talking about this, it took a long time to figure out. Like, I need somebody that can be versatile and that can work in the that 3 capacity. And it took a while. I wanted Deshaun Jackson. Like, that's where like my instinct was like, hey, get Deshaun Jackson and put him in the slot. Because I really think Godwin is a great player, and there's no question about Evans. But I kind of want somebody that's like down and dirty. And so I'm going to go with Joe Jaravicious.
Joe Jaravicious. That's a hell of a receiver.
I don't want him. He's slow, but he's a big dude. He kind of plays tight end. you got to put him down on the line a little bit. I didn't really want him, but like he took work done. That was gonna be my guy. That was gonna be my guy.
Kind of the point.
So, yeah.
All right, now on the clock, Rick.
One of our biggest problems has been safeties, corners, people not doing what they should do. Rondé Barber, baby.
Who can argue with Rondé Barber? The Rondé Barber was on my list, and I was actually in my head right now for the next.
Oh, I mean,
By the way, I just want to explain. I'm with, I have no notes. I'm doing this all off memory, and that was one that was in my memory bank of seeing him play his whole career. I saw from day one to the end of his career. So, great pick.
A phenomenal player. Still the leader in sacks and interceptions for a cornerback, right?
For corner.
For a corner, yes.
Yeah, for a corner. So, I mean, he still leads. He's a 2020 guy. He's the only guy that has that,
For his career, yep.
Yeah.
Next man is Rob.
So I went kicker in the first round, followed it up with a left tackle. So I fixed 2 holes with 2 picks. And so I look and say, well, what's the next thing I could fix? And it might not seem like a hole, but it does fix some other problems in the defensive end or defensive backfield by picking a defensive end. And I'm going to go with Mr. Simeon Rice, the sack master. And I want to pair him up with Barrett Root and JPP to have one of the meanest, baddest, scariest defensive lines. And it will hide all problems in the back of the defense. But now you have Rondé back there with your pick. So
you have the greatest defensive line in NFL history now.
And that's not counting some other players that are still out there. So what do you think about that, Clevin?
Well, what I think about it is I was going defensive line anyway, and I'm getting this echo, but that's okay. I like Leroy Selman, number 2. I like Leroy Selman. Can y'all hear me?
Is that your next pick?
That's your pick?
That's my pick, Leroy Selman.
That's an excellent that is an excellent pick. He was the cornerstone. He was the first brick laid to build this team.
You got it.
That was a hell of a pick.
You got it. And then I'm should
and
be
now
up
you
again,
got one
right?
more.
And then another.
Yep, you're up again.
Next hole I'm going to plug an upgrade is with Mr. John Lynch.
Now, the funny thing with
this is a controversial pick.
Yeah, because John Lynch, now, this again, you're fixing the 2020 team. So John Lynch style of play is the style of play, man, made me love football. It made me fall in love with how he played the game. It didn't matter if you were his worst enemy or his brother-in-law on the other side. He was going to lay your ass out to get that ball. But compared to what happens in NFL today, he wouldn't make it through 3 games before he was suspended for the year. He would be out because he doesn't.
Yeah, a lot of the older ones wouldn't make it today. Hey, because of people
his style of play.
They bring the rest with them.
Well, and I think that's Rob's point is that like it's almost a wasted pick. It'd be like if you picked Martin Gramatica in the first round.
I wish.
Wow. John Lynch in this round. It just not as a 5th pick. He's a great pick, But as we're in the top of the 4th round. Is this a really good pick at this early? He could have been a 5th pick. He should have been a 5th pick.
Well, he may have been gone.
He should have been.
I'm picking the best on the board. He may have been gone by 5. Put it that way. You got to remember, I'm the last to pick, so y'all might have picked him. So maybe is there some envy there that I got John Lynch? I think he's an upgrade.
No,
for the current roster.
No.
John Lynch would be a hell of an upgrade to what we've got right now. So that's not a.
There's no doubt he'd be an upgrade, but it's a upgrade in the situation that we're in now, right?
Yeah.
With football.
Yeah, with hitting. So it's now my pick. I'm up. So again, I've been plugging holes. I've been putting in with quality, really quality players. I'm going to go one more time. I'm going to fix one other place where I think, and it's that slot receiver. I'm going to get the guy that made that offense when John Lynch got here. He was the last pickup in free agency, and he got released by the Jaguars, and we picked him up, brought him in, and he made that offense work. That's Mr. Keenan McCardell.
Charger too. He was a Charger.
Yes, he came here and he was the guy that made things happen, and I'm going with him because he had everything. He would go over the middle, he'd take the hit, and he had the yak after catch.
A fantastic pick. A really, really fantastic pick. Somebody that is just was a really, really super tough guy and gave everything he had every Sunday for the Buccaneers after having established himself as a very good player in other places.
All right, so now on the clock, be Mr. Rick.
I'm going to go Vincent Jackson. I need a receiver. He's got, good Lord, how many total yards? I mean, I'm having to cheat to actually look at how many total yards. Total yards in his career, 9,080. Woohoo! Receptions, targets, TDs, 57 TDs. Man can catch a ball.
He was a hell of a leader. He just got here at the wrong time.
Yeah.
When we brought him in. So that'd be, and the leadership he would bring would be tremendous. So I love the pick.
It's a terrific pick. It just, where do you put him in the scheme? You have Mike Jones, you have Godwin. Where does he go, Rick? Where does he fall in? And a 3 wide receiver set.
Well, no, you got Evans and Godwin, and then with the 3, you'd have the 3 towers basically. If you had all 3 of those guys, it just you don't have one.
Godwin
with the speed.
checks in at 6'2", so
yeah, they were pretty big guys. You don't have the speed with those 3 receivers. That's why I'm saying it's a good pick, but you're making my team look better because mine kind of just flows better.
Mr. Clevin, you are up for 2 picks.
2 picks? I thought we were going down. I thought it was on. Did Rob?
Is it Kirk's?
Yeah, it's back to
it's Kirk.
Kirk,
You know,
I've got a K sitting there, so it's either Kirk or Clevin, one of the 2. So Clevin, this is the
I'll take an extra pick if you
last
want.
pick in the 4th round.
No, you can't take my pick.
This is the last pick of the 4th round.
You can trade for my pick if you want.
Yeah,
and
we'll
the first
see.
pick of the 5th round, and the 5th round is it.
Yeah. So for my pick, I wanted a wide receiver, another wide receiver, or I wanted a quarterback because Tom Brady's not getting younger. And I looked at the list of everybody that played quarterback, and we had some really good quarterbacks at different points in their career. A lot of people forget that we had Craig Erickson, who was fun, and we had Chris Sims, who was kind of fun, and we had all these guys that were just kind of like fun to have as quarterbacks. But I wanted somebody functional. I wanted somebody that I knew could do the job, and I wanted somebody that could work as a backup. And so for my the last pick of the 4th round, I'm picking Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer. That was my. Was that a laugh? Is like ha ha ha.
Yes, that was a laugh.
He
talked about my pick.
Are you laughing because?
And he talked about both of us picking a kicker in the 1st round. Trent Dilfer. Woo!
Yeah. I want him, and the reason why I want him is because do people actually remember the time he got blasted on the sidelines and then got a fight on the sidelines?
Well, I remember a lot of things about him, but
yeah,
a lot of it was he couldn't hit the receivers, and he just never made it here in Tampa. Then the next year he went off to Baltimore and was the backup, and I think Elvis was their quarterback, and he basically
Elvis Gerbach.
Yes, Elvis Gerbach, and he got replaced by Trent Dilfer as somebody that come in and just don't turn the ball over. And it was more like throw it to Shannon Sharp and hand the ball off and give it to the defense.
Yeah, and that's
all he had to do.
Yeah,
and he won a Super Bowl.
And he won a Super Bowl with it. Next
and,
pick.
and then Ray Lewis was the middle linebacker. So this is I'm looking back at my picks right now, and I don't know. Like I told you, I don't know that much about Davin Joseph. I don't know if he would actually help our offensive line. I don't know if he fits into our scheme. But and this next pick, I don't know if he fits into our scheme. I don't care. He's a solid Buccaneer. He makes anything he's ever touched better because he just is better than everybody else. And I don't know how you could not want him on your team. I can't believe I'm picking him 5th at the bottom of the last round. It's the top of the bottom of the last round. Hardy Nickerson.
Hardy Nickerson.
Good pick.
That's who I'm picking.
That's a solid pick. Hardy Nickerson, from my memory of being a Bucs fan at that time, he was the first big time free agent to come to Tampa Bay, and he brought a different mentality. And
Steeler.
Clevin, do you remember him in the middle of the field making a play?
Yeah.
And he would get up and do the Hulk Hogan flex?
Yeah.
And the crowd would go freaking crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't know who to pick. I wanted Donnie Abraham or Darrelle Revis because I love corners. But if I have Hardy Nickerson, I don't need any of those guys. I just have to have Hardy Nickerson.
Did you know just a little nugget on him? Just a little nugget on him, on Hardy. He had 214 tackles in 1993. That's incredible to me. 214 tackles. So I do like that pick.
I remember when he left. The last year he was here, he was having some problems with his heart. But angina, that's what it was called, angina problems, where he couldn't get through some practices. So the Bucs let him go. He finished, I think, in Jacksonville, and
he did.
And when he left, the big question mark. I'll get back to that in a second. We'll go to the next pick.
We lost Carl Nassib.
Who?
Carl Nassib.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
I know. I'm just wondering if you actually knew who he was.
Yeah.
All right. So he flies the cuckoo nest. I'm gonna take Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp. That's you can't argue. I mean, how can you argue with Warren Sapp being on the defense?
No, I don't have a problem. I just can't believe it took 5 rounds and
that's the best 5th round pick you're gonna take.
Yeah.
Well, there's
like
one
how
other one.
long did it take for us
one-
to get to Warren Sapp? I mean, what is that?
There's one other one.
But I mean, what does that say to Simeon Rice got took ahead of him, which makes sense because Simeon Rice is just a god. But Warren Sapp went the 2nd pick in the 5th round. The bigger question is why?
Because we're upgrading the current
Why did he go?
roster.
Yes, it's not overall who's the best Buccaneers of all time. It's what fits and fixes the 2020 team.
And my question to Rick is, you had 5 rounds. Warren Sapp was going to be on your round. Why did you pick him in the 5th round? Why did you think he'd be available in the 5th round?
The best question is, why would you pick who you picked in the 4th round and not Warren Sapp?
There you go.
Well, I mean, we're talking about Testaver or what?
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer.
We're talking about Trent Dilfer being taken before Warren Sapp, and there's still Derek Brooks is still on the freaking board. I mean,
Yeah,
it's no, we need an offensive lineman, and or defensive. Let's see here, Warren Sapp. Pick another one that we've had with the Bucs that you're going to stick up there.
No.
Other than Simeon Rice. Simeon Rice is a good pick. I like Simeon Rice.
Here's the thing. We've picked
Chidi Ahanatu would be another one. But,
Chidi Ahanatu's great.
But who do you want? Sapp or Sapp all day?
No, I guess my overall point is that we're looking at a group of people that Keyshawn Johnson's not on this list. We've picked Bucs that are good Buccaneers, and beyond the fact that they're good Buccaneers is that they're good teammates. And you could look at any of these guys and that they all kind of get along. Does Warren Sapp fit into the fabric?
Absolutely. Rob, you've got the next pick.
My next pick, well, you guys kind of stepped on him a little bit. And, the reason I didn't take him at this point, or I didn't take him before this point, is I felt the other ones were more necessities. And I felt maybe you guys would have taken him earlier. But this guy was known after, when Hardy Nickerson left, there was a big statement of like, does the Buccaneers have leadership? Can they move on from the point of Hardy Nickerson leaving? And the biggest thing Hardy said is, I was the leader. And yes, there is somebody that could take my spot. And yes, he doesn't lead in the same fashion. Yes, he's quiet, but in the locker room, he's known as the Don. That's Derek Brooks. Who's your favorite football player? Derek Brooks. All right. Without Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp may have not been as good. And what I mean by that is Derek Brooks was the leader in the locker room and off the field. And I felt that maybe he shifted some of where Warren Sapp was going a little off. He would push him in the right direction. He demanded it. He was the guy that demanded it.
Maybe helped him in the right direction. I'd agree with that.
So
Derek Brooks was the kind of player that made everybody around him better. Same, John Lynch, same thing. Rondé Barber. I mean, try and find. There's only one team that you can think of that's even close defensively to what that team was in 2001, 2002. The Ravens. That's the only other defense that you can come to mind and go, I mean, they had every piece just like we did. But back then, that was something special, and I know that's what we're trying to build right now. Clevin, you are on the clock for the last pick.
All right, the last pick. Twice I've been stepped on because I've got the last pick, but that's okay. It's still good. I did want Derek Brooks because defense wins football games, not Tom Brady. It's your defense. How many games?
Hey, Clevin, yeah. Can I just say something real quick? That's why you and I get along so well at the football games, because we see the game in the same way.
You got it.
Just got to say that.
You got it, buddy.
Yeah, whenever I'm at the game with these guys, I hate them both.
Hey, Rick, you picked Rondé Barber, right?
Go ahead.
Did Rick pick Rondé Barber? Yeah, that was another one I had to cross off.
Yes.
I was going initially all defense except for Martin Gramatica. But just to move things along, I'm gonna pivot. And I'm gonna do what Kurt did, except I don't pick Trent Dilfer. How can you lead Kurt? How can you lead Doug Williams on the board? How does that happen?
Okay. That's a fair question, and I would like to point out that it was a toss-up, and I wanted somebody that would be a better backup. Doug Williams is a starter. He's a starter. If you have him in a backup role, he's not going to do well. He's a starter. He's a day one, starter.
I get it. But if something happens to your starter, you don't skip a beat. It's a great upgrade to put on the 2020 team as a backup to Brady. This guy he also brings leadership to the team. He was the heart and soul of that first,
without a doubt,
that first team. He was credited with taking his team back in the day from worst to first. Y'all remember that in '79? Worst to first.
Credited with being a tough SOB.
He had 12 touchdowns, 12 rushing touchdowns, 856 rushing yards. He was running before Cam Newton even thought about running. So yeah, I'm going with Doug.
And one other thing that I'll give you credit for that pick.
I can't believe that you waited to like the last round and the fifth pick to pick Doug Williams.
Well,
I mean,
I was going
you got
for
a
defense, and they all
42-year-old quarterback. At what point do you? Yeah, I know.
But you picked Trent Dilfer before you did him.
I did. But I would like to point out, and it's like, Clevin, I can't argue with you because you're right. I just wanted somebody that would work more functionally as a backup.
I got you.
So I picked him, and that was the only reason I picked him. They're both of them are Super Bowl winning.
Hey, I would like to point something out real quick because both of you guys picked those guys, so they have something in common more than they just were Super Bowl quarterbacks. They both were backup quarterbacks when it started the season.
Yes.
if you remember Doug
Yeah.
Williams, went to Washington. He didn't get into the game until the playoffs, right?
That's
yeah,
correct.
right?
Jay Schreier
Yeah.
was their man.
And then he got hurt in the Super Bowl. Came back in, and he said, "I played the whole game with a bust. I think it was a busted knee."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he played because he's like, "This is my shot. This is my shot," and he lit Denver up.
They were down. Like he brought them back. He scored
I think it was
straight
wasn't it like
points.
42-20 or something
Yeah,
like that.
like
The final
he,
score.
he demolished.
It was a crazy, and how he left Tampa was crazy. That's another podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Him and Bo Jackson.
So as I look at the whole, everybody's teams they put together, me being as nice as I am,
We don't even want to hear it, man.
I win. I win the Super Bowl. I just
No,
say it.
people are going to be voting online which team they like.
Excellent.
Yes, we're when we post this, we're gonna put a poll with our teams to see who agrees with who.
Oh, we're gonna get comments.
And I'll tell you what, the best thing is we'll have to give a prize away for a random person, with the best comments that votes for me. I mean, votes.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So that's the fun part about this, because you could argue this for hours about who would help win.
Yeah, no one picked Donnie Abraham. I would just
Yeah.
like to point that out. That no one picked Donnie Abraham.
So, you picked Trent Dilfer over Donnie Abraham. So you
Yeah,
explain it.
I did.
Right?
I need the guy's 42 years old, man. Jesus.
All right. Well, folks, it's been a great one.
We're going to break, and we'll be right back.
Yep.
Hey, this is Sal from Crue Life. Just want to let you know we're on Facebook and Twitter. So just look up Crue Life.
CRUELIFE.
Also, subscribe to our podcast on YouTube.
All right, crew, we're back. What a fun episode! I mean, this episode, I think we should have some kind of video chat on our page where everybody can kind of go in and chime in, because I think I guarantee we left off players that people are like, "Why did you do this? Why did you do that?" And I mean, they're probably asking that about your guys' picks, not mine. But I just saying.
Sure.
But before we got on this podcast, I was on a call with Coach Bell, and Coach Bell was asking what we were doing today, and I told him, and he wanted to call in with his 5. So we're gonna see if he beats us. So, Coach, you're on the air.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy, Coach Bell from the Buck Talk with Coach Bell show. I've been asked to do a 5-round draft of former players that would push this year's team across the hump and get us into the Super Bowl and bring that championship back to Tampa. So here we go. Round 1, Paul Gruber, left tackle, Wisconsin. Round 2, John Lynch, safety, Stanford. Round 3, Rondé Barber, cornerback, Virginia. Round 4, James Wilder, running back, Missouri. And round 5, Martin Gramatica, kicker, Kansas State University. Guys, if we had those 5 players on this year's team, there is no doubt we would be Super Bowl champions. Guys, last but not least, make sure you watch this show tonight, 7 o'clock. This is your boy, Coach Bell from the Buck Talk with Coach Bell show. And as always, Buck Nation, stand up.
Wow, I could say if he was in the room, the difference is some of those players would have been taken, so he couldn't have taken them in that order.
That's exactly.
But I will say, his mix of players, he did good. I saw Gramatica and Gruber, and who else did he pick?
Lynch.
Rondé Barber.
Lynch.
Barber. And then the fact that
Lynch
he
and Wilder.
picked Gramatica in the 5th round, where he deserves to be picked, not in the 1st round like some other
If
people.
Rob wouldn't have picked him first, Clevin would have picked him.
Yes, so he would have been gone. And Coach Bell, you would not have had him, and we would have.
That's right.
So we would have fixed our problem at kicker.
Right.
So, as I
Rob,
said, this is a hell of a topic.
Rob,
Yes.
So the theme of that Gramatica pick is you me and Coach Bell recognize that's one of the glaring weaknesses on our team. Think about it. We lost 2 games last year because of a kicker. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, but what you're doing here is you are drafting Martin Gramatica for his first year. He's a rookie.
Yeah.
And he was the best rookie that we've ever had come in and win games.
Hello.
He never missed. That's because
we called him.
He was named Automatica.
Let's see here.
Yes. So let me state this too. If what we're saying right now, hopefully the Buccaneers are saying right now, because I really feel is we need to bring a veteran kicker in to compete with Matt Gay. I like Matt Gay. I like that he has a big leg, but at the same time, I still think it's a glaring hole on our team. You can't go in the season with the same problems that we had last season in the kicking game.
Yeah. And you know, no one's trying to like underemphasize what you're saying as far as the kicker. It's just it's the round in which you pick them. That's where you're hearing, you know, blowback.
The only comment I want to make to you about Martin Gramatica is 2 things. Number 1, extra points were different then than they are now.
He hit it no matter where it was at.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He was 27 of 32 in field goals. 27 of 32 in 1999 when he was drafted.
At still, compared to our kickers we've had in recent years.
You made the comment he was perfect.
What was the percentage? What was the percentage?
84%.
84%. I'll take every day compared to what was Matt Gay last year.
Yeah.
Matt Gay was what, 60s?
All I'm saying is, right?
So let you know that argument is great for another show. So we're gonna wrap some stuff up right now, but I want to finish with letting everyone know that Kirk was just called into active duty. So tonight, or I should say, as we're recording this, he will be gone for a little bit. He's going back into the Army. Where are you going to?
Louisiana. I'll be in New Orleans.
So if you hear the drop of quality of our sound, it's because he's going to be at another place. And all I got to say is, man, be safe. We're proud of you. Go and help them get this stuff under control.
John Graham.
John Graham, yes.
Thoughts and prayers out for him.
John Graham, to him and his family. If you don't know John Graham, if you're part of Bucks Life, you're part of Crue Life, or if you've been to any kind of functions, he's the guy that volunteers, puts it together. The Jacksonville trip last year, he put it all together, and one hell of a guy. And our thoughts and prayers from Crewville to him and his family. So we're going to go through closing thoughts for the week. Just make sure you stay tuned. We're going to start doing something new on Crue Life this week. A couple times a week, I'm going to announce we're going to do a viewing. We're going to do concerts, and I'm going to put a little thing up, and we're going to watch live concerts on Crue Life, or we'll do some Buccaneers events that we'll do live on the actual page. We can watch together, have a drink together, and communicate together as we're watching it. Last night, I had the Motley Crue concert from beginning to end, and we had about 6 of us on there, and we didn't announce it. So
yeah, no, I saw some of it. It was good.
Yeah, Carnival of Sins from 2005. So we're going to pick some new music, and we'll try to do different genres and get everybody together and have a drink together and party together. After that, pretty much, one last thing. We finish every show with Crue for Life.